After last night, I watched tyronn-lue's facial expressions after the first two games, and it's the same as Brad Stevens during the series. And that you see a coach when it's like, fellas, what do you want me to do here? Ty-Lue is doing a Brad Stevens. We don't match up with them. It kind of looks like that, Chris. He's not angry.
Good.
They're too good.
They're too good. And this look I'm not trying to toot my own horn. From the moment Kevin Durant said, I'm going to Golden State, I picked them to win the championship. I didn't think it would take a year because his style of play fits into their system. He doesn't dominate the ball, doesn't have to dominate the ball. He's a catch-and-shoot guy. He's unselfish. Like, I felt he would fit in seamlessly, and that's pretty much what's happened. But I do have some suggestions for Ty-Lue, if I may. I think they are trying to beat Golden State at its own game. You can't win a track meet or a shootout against the Warriors.
Can't.
Even when they were down 67-64, I believe it was at halftime, it felt like they were just hanging on for dear life. You know, like
it did.
And I don't care if they had been up, they were not going to be able to maintain that pace. So what I would do is try to slow it down to a crawl.
Yeah.
Put it in LeBron's hands. I hate typically when he dominates the ball, but against Golden State, it's the best strategy because you can control the pace and the tempo, get LeBron in the post a little bit more when he's not handling the ball, and get Kevin Love in the post. That's your best shot. I'm not saying it'll work. That's your only hope.
When Chip Kelly was running through college football, Ohio State and Alabama did the same thing. Slowed him down. You don't want to get into a track meet with the world's best track team. I said this. They haven't lost since March. And when they lost a game in March, it was to playoff Utah that was playing for a playoff seeding. Klay Thompson rested. They haven't lost a game like they wanted to win, like that was all in like 2.5 months.
I think they could have won 73 or 74 if they had really pushed it.
People think I'm crazy. Maybe. I think we're looking at the most skilled team I've ever seen in my life, Chris. Both of us been covering this league for over 2 decades.
I mean, we have to see them continue this, obviously. But look, it's a tremendous team. They're obviously the best shooting team.
Oh, God, yeah.
What they've done is combine their shooting ability which goes out to the three-point line with old school ball movement, player movement, don't over-dribble type basketball. What you're watching is a team basketball versus a Cleveland team that has 2 phenomenal individuals, but they tend to play isolation basketball. Now, they've improved in terms of the team aspect. They do play a little more team basketball than usual. But if you look at Kyrie is an ISO player.
Yes.
One of the best in the world. LeBron, for the most of his career, was an isolation player.
Yep.
That era, this previous era, was dominated by that. But now Golden State has kind of taken it back and added the three-point shot. We saw it with San Antonio to a lesser degree, obviously, in 2014 when they ran through Miami.
And this leads me to my next thought, is that the way it works in the NBA is a player, generally the best player, kind of dominates the talking points. And Kobe was a big part of that for about 7-8 years. Magic Bird dominated. Are we watching now the passing of the baton, that the talking point of the league is no longer LeBron? It's been that for a decade. The talking point of the league after this finals, Golden State is the best team ever. And that for the next 2 years is what I don't spend day after day on LeBron.
Yeah, I think, look, the question has been who's the GOAT, right? MJ or LeBron?
That's right.
It's now, as you said, going to go to, is this the best team ever? Can they become that? Now, LeBron will remain a hot topic, but not number one. This is why it'll be hot. What in the world does Cleveland do in the offseason? Because they're going to keep getting here.
Well, for it's next 3 years.
3 and 5 is a negative, and people are looking at that as a negative on LeBron. He certainly doesn't want to be 3 and 6, 3 and 7, 3 and 8. That could, when you look at the situation, that could happen. So the big story will be, okay, who can they add? What type of trade do they make? They've got to do something because you're getting back here, and the result's going to be the same because Golden State's probably just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, no, I said the loser will be Kevin Love because Kyrie is so gifted and LeBron has great respect for him. The J.R. Smiths, the Kyle Korvers are replaceable. But LeBron's going to know if they lose in 4 or 5, we got to figure out the KD thing. And Love, and I like Kevin Love. I have backed it.
He has played pretty well in this series.
But he looks slow next to KD. So, I said when LeBron chose Kevin Love over Andrew Wiggins, I said for 2 to 3 years, it's the right choice. There's going to come a line in the sand where you're like, okay, we need youth. Yeah. I think Love, if they lose this finals, not blaming him. I'm a Love fan. I think he's the loser in this.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, he's played well. His numbers are good. He hasn't had much impact, but his numbers look good, okay? Here's what I would do. If I'm Cleveland and we get beaten 4, 5, 6 games, I'm going to LeBron and Kyrie, if I'm David Griffin, and I'm saying, look, recruit Paul George. I know it's tampering. It happens all the time. All right, go to Paul George and say, look, you can be a part of history. You can be a part of the Lakers, Celtics of the 80s. That's what this is about to be. All right, you will end up being a Hall of Famer. We need you to beat that team. Look at them. We need you to beat them. And try to get George to commit to going to Cleveland and then have him go to Kevin Pritchard in Indiana and say, look, I'm leaving as a free agent. You can trade me to Cleveland and get something for me or lose me for nothing. And then Kevin Love would be the piece I'd send it. Now,
hey, by the way,
does that get them over the top? I don't know, but it gets them closer.
And by the way, Boston's still playing the we're going to build slowly game. See, this is what I'm saying. LeBron's not content. So if you want to do this whole Celtic, we're about championships. We're going to get 19-year-olds. LeBron's just going to keep cherry picking. And by the way, in 3 years, if Kyrie's beat up, he's going to move off him and say, I'm the second best player. I'm going to go get Wiggins. See, I think your idea is absolutely what's going to happen. I think it's...
Now, do you... See, I'm trying to think of realistic scenarios. I can't say go get Kawhi. That's not happening.
No.
Go get Karl Anthony.
Paul George is the answer.
Paul George. What about if you can't get George, would you do it for Jimmy Butler or Gordon Hayward? I think you could definitely get Hayward for Love. I don't know that I'd do that. That's a tough one. What about you?
I like Jimmy Butler. Little ego there.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy Butler wants to be the man. Maybe at this point even more than he wants the ring. And I think you got to get over yourself a little bit in this league, and I like Jimmy. But that's Greg Popovich's theory on this stuff. We like to get players who are over themselves. Yep. I think Jimmy's still sort of into himself. That's okay. I probably would be too at his age. But I think Paul George, a spot-up shooter.
Yep. Athletic, can
shoot.
Can guard.
By the way, 1 minute left. This is an indictment of Russell Westbrook. You do realize that, do you not?
I do not realize. Give me your argument, and then let me shoot it down with guns blazing.
He leaves Westbrook to go to a team with 2 historic shooters, and he's getting better shots.
You said a team. That's the difference. He didn't leave Westbrook just for Steph Curry. He got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and this wonderful system where everybody moves the ball, all the players are moving. So you're comparing an entire franchise to one player.
Yeah,
if you want to condemn OKC for it, I'm cool with that. But to put that all on Russell Westbrook,
could pass more.
It's not, huh?
Could pass a little more.
He had 10 assists a game.
Victor Oladipo went from Orlando to Oklahoma City, and KD left. Shouldn't Victor Oladipo's numbers gone up?
They stayed, right? He averaged 16, 17 a game.
So KD
That's the level of player he is. He's not giving you more than that.
Really?
That's what he is. I mean, look.
Listen, I'm running out of time.
Yeah, I bet. Don't put it all on Russ. He about to be the MVP. You know that.
I know. I do know. Chris Broussard, Hour 2's coming up in L.A. It's The Herd.